In recent days, Donald Trump's increasingly erratic behavior has become impossible to overlook. With his public outbursts, confrontational exchanges with reporters, late-night truth social posts, and escalating rhetoric all reflecting a level of visible pressure unmatched in his political career. And as new developments continue to surface, including renewed public attention on the long-running controversies surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, intensified scrutiny of Trump's past associations, and the release of additional documents and images tied to that case, Trump appears to respond with heightened aggression and exaggerated foreign policy threats, such as his latest suggestion about striking targets in Venezuela, a proposal widely dismissed by experts as reckless political theater meant to seize the news cycle rather than reflect any coherent national security strategy. Meanwhile, the Republican Party is grappling with its own fractures, highlighted by reporting that Representative Nancy Mace is considering early resignation due to frustrations with GOP leadership's treatment of women, a moment that underscores broader internal tensions and growing disillusionment within a coalition that has long defined itself through loyalty to Trump rather than shared policy principles. Yet even as the party struggles to maintain unity, Trump has attempted to recast himself as Epstein-related records, despite bipartisan evidence showing the push for disclosure came from lawmakers across the aisle, not at his direction, illustrating once again his tendency to rewrite events in real time to portray capitulation as leadership. And all of this unfolds as his public appearances raise further questions about his focus, stamina, and capacity, from visibly fatigued moments in cabinet meetings to repetitive and increasingly inflammatory remarks, including sweeping attacks on immigrants and entire communities that echo the nativist themes central to his political identity since 2015. Yet the attempts by allies and state media to normalize these episodes, to praise his supposed vigor, and to brush aside reports of him struggling to stay alert during briefings only deepen the impression of a movement more invested in preserving an image than confronting reality, prompting even some Republicans, like Thomas Massie, to warn colleagues that they must prepare for a post-Trump era. And as support erodes, as internal conflicts intensify, and as Trump's grip on the GOP weakens, what becomes increasingly clear is that the MAGA identity was never anchored in policy or governance, but in grievance, spectacle, and personality, leaving the movement adrift now that its organizing force is faltering. And through it all, Trump's latest social media posts, attempting to justify controversial military actions, frame himself as a protector against poisoning, and rally supporters around divisive cultural narratives, read less like confident leadership and more like frantic attempts to reassert control over a political landscape shifting beneath his feet. And that is why we will continue breaking down every moment of this unfolding political unraveling, examining the consequences, the fractures, and the implications for a Republican Party increasingly forced to confront what happens when the figure who defined it for nearly a decade begins to lose the capacity to hold it together.